Yo, what's going on YouTube? Ultron here, back in the video. So, we got all the brawlers here. We're going to be making a tier list with them today. We're going to rank them from F to S tier. And that's that. Before we get into it, about 70% of you guys that watch the videos are not subscribed. So, if you guys have been watching a while, enjoying the videos, I'd really appreciate it. Also, feel free to join the Discord down in the description. We got a Guess the Rank video going on. You guys can be in it. Just submit a clip to my mod. And also, there's a 1-month Nitro giveaway, so go check it out. Oh yeah, also guys, keep in mind, I'm not a pro player or anything, but I do play quite a lot of ranked. So I do feel like I'm somewhat qualified to talk about this. If you guys feel something should be somewhere else, you know, that's fine as well. You guys can comment it down below as well. But again, keep in mind, these are my opinions, so like they're not like set in stone. Anyway, let's get into the video. Now, starting with Shelly, you know, she's okay. She can deal with over-aggression, but there are better tank counters in this meta, you know, like Gale, Surge, etc., etc. So we're going to throw in the B tier. She's okay. She's just there, you know? Now, next up is Nita. In my opinion, she's a decent brawler. You know, she, with her hypercharge, has kind of gone up the meta quite a bit. And the bear can just tank so many shots. It can survive for so long. It's just really good. Next up is Colt. In my opinion, he's a decent brawler, but he's kind of fallen out of the meta. He can be used as a sort of late pick wall break, and if you're good with Colt, I mean, obviously he can still work, but in my opinion, like he's kind of fallen off. He's kind of between low B and high C tier. You know, maybe I'll switch him later. Now, next up with Bull, in my opinion, he's just F tier. I mean, without Stomper, like once you run out of Stomper gadgets, he's completely useless. He's really predictable, really bad. You know, just not very good without Stomper. I think they need to buff him. Now, next up with Brock, he, in my opinion, is going to go into the C tier. One of my favorite brawlers, but at mid-range, you, like, literally cannot do anything. I mean, he's just bad at mid-range, and his hypercharge was so bad. Actually, I think I'm going to put Colt. I think I'll leave him in B. I was thinking of putting him with Brock. Alright, next up with Pringle. In my opinion, he's kind of fallen out of the meta a bit. I mean, it's a tank counter heavy meta. Like, in my opinion, a lot of tanks have fallen off, Primo included. And his, like, hypercharge isn't very good in my opinion either. Like, he's just not that good right now. Alright, next up is Barley, a brawler I've been having a lot of fun with. Thrower heavy meta, and Barley's a good thrower, especially with the hypercharge and his gadget that heals a lot. He's just really good right now. Alright, next up is Poco. In my opinion, Poco's kind of fallen out of the meta. It's like tank and tank counter heavy meta, and in here, Poco doesn't fare too well. However, he is getting a hypercharge soon, so we'll pray for him. I'm just going to throw Poco in the C tier with Brock and Primo. Now, next up is Rosa. In my opinion, still a decent tank, but definitely outclassed. Frank is really good, Buster's really good. Like, Rosa's kind of outclassed, so I'll throw her in B. Alright, now next up is Jessie. In my opinion, Jessie's a decent brawler. I'm debating putting her between low A and high B. I mean, the turret can get shredded sometimes, but in the right matchups and on the right maps, the turret can really hold it down, especially with how fast you cycle. Now, next up is Dynamike. It's a thrower heavy meta again, and Dynamike's like decent-ish. Not as good as Barley in my opinion, so we'll just throw him in B tier. Like, he's okay. Now, next up is Tick. Again, thrower heavy meta. Tick is good in both knockout and bounty. I don't think he's that good anywhere else, but he's still good in those respective modes, so, you know, we'll throw him B. Now, next up is 8-Bit. In my opinion, he's a bit of a niche mid lane, but he can work on, say, like, Heist and Gem Grab. He's okay-ish. I mean, there are some better mid lanes, but he's not the worst. Like, he's still pretty good, so I'll throw him in B. Now, next up is Rico. Very fun brawler, in my opinion. Very solid in the meta. Hypercharge is really good. You know, good damage, strong carry brawler, just all that good stuff. He's good. Now, next up is my boy Darryl. Honestly, he's F tier right now. You know, really bad star powers, really bad gadgets. He needs a buff, man, or even a rework. I'd like a rework. Now, next up is Penny. Just damage is lacking overall. Her kit is kind of predictable. She's not good. Now, next up is Carl. In my opinion, kind of underrated. He's good in gem grab and heist. His gadgets are really good, honestly, which I think is saving him and putting him in the B tier. Now, next up is Jacky. In my opinion, she's kind of fallen off in this meta, you know, compared to other tanks like Buster and Frank that outclass her, and it is tank counter heavy, so she's gonna go in the C tier. Now, Gus, in my opinion, is not very good because he kind of tries to do a lot of things in a game where being a specialist is a lot better. You know, he's outclassed by other snipers, outclassed by other support brawlers, so he's gonna just go in the C tier. Now, in my opinion, Bo is not that good right now. His mines are really predictable unless you're like a bot. And, I mean, I don't get the obsession with Bo. Alright, now, next up is Ems. You know, she's a tank counter in a tank meta. She's okay-ish. Her hypercharge didn't really do much for her, though. I think I'll throw her above Shelly in the B tier. Yeah. And then I'll move Carl above Ems. I think Carl's a little bit better than Ems, or... we'll put Carl behind Ems. Now, next up is Stu. In my opinion, in this meta, he's not very good because he doesn't have much damage. So he can't really deal with a lot of the meta threats, so I'll just throw him in the C tier. I think I'll put Piper high A, maybe close to the S tier. Very good hypercharge. Her main attacks do a lot of damage. Her gadgets are really good, etc. etc. I could go on. Now, honestly, I haven't seen too much Pam, so I don't know if I can really talk about her. Her gadget is good in my opinion. Her heals are good, but I think she might not do enough damage in this meta. I don't know. I'm just going to throw her in high C. She's okay-ish. Now, next up is the infamous Frank, going into the S tier. You know, his rework made him really strong, but keep in mind, he's only good as like a late pick. If you first pick him or you pick him really early into the draft, he's counterable. Now, Bibi, in my opinion, she's a decent tank. Not as good as tanks like Buster and Frank, again, like most of the other tanks, but she's holding up okay-ish. I'll put her in B. Now, speaking of B, I'd say is like low B, high C tier. I think she doesn't have enough damage in this meta, so I'm just going to throw her in the C tier. Now, in my opinion, Nani's fallen off quite a bit. Not, like, super bad or anything, but, like, Nani's certainly fallen out of the heist meta. There's many more heist damage options. You know, there's, like, hypercharges and whatnot. But Nani is still good in knockout, bounty, etc., etc. So I think we'll put Nani in B. Now, Edgar. In my opinion, right now, Edgar's actually kind of underrated. He can work as a late pick in a lot of scenarios. Don't get me wrong, he does have a lot of counters, so that's why he's going to be in the C tier, but he can work as a late pick. Now, Griff is by no means bad. In my opinion, he's a decent brawler, but when you're playing him, you're only really using him for the wall break, so I'd say with that lack of versatility, I'll put him in the B tier. He's by no means bad, but he's decent. And also, I think I'll put Colt over Abe and Rosa. Now, Grom, in my opinion, he's one of the worst throwers, if not the worst in the game. And I'd accredit it to how hard it is to hit his shots, and also due to how he can't really deal with aggression. So he's going to go in the C tier for me. Now, Bonnie's also going to go into the C tier. She's outclassed by other snipers. She can also get run down by aggression. And her super isn't very good because when you use it, either you get traded out or you just die because you can't get away after you super. Gale's going to go straight to the S tier. I mean, no questions asked. It's a tank heavy meta and he's a tank counter. His super still bugs, so it does hella damage. His hypercharge is good, his gadgets are good, his star powers are good, just everything about him is good. Not only that, but he also just fits really well into the meta. Now, next up we got Collete, also S tier. Again, she fits really well into the meta with a bunch of tanks. With tanks being good, Collete also is good, and so the tanks are really good right now, so as a result, Colette's also really good. Now, Belle certainly isn't S tier anymore. She used to be S tier in my opinion with her hypercharge, but it did get nerfed a little bit with the hypercharge rate. However, she is still solid, so I'm going to put her in the A tier. Now, I'm also thinking about changing Jessie to A tier, but I think I'll keep her in the B tier for now. Maybe I'll change it later. Now, next up is Ash. I think I'm going to put him in the C tier, borderline F tier, because tank counter heavy meta and he's a tank. Also, he's outclassed by a lot of other brawlers that have hypercharges, which he can't deal with. Now, next up is Lola. I'm going to put her in the B tier. She's certainly not, like, the best, but in my opinion, she's a bit underrated. She has decent damage, decent survivability, not a bad brawler at all. Now, Sam, I'm going to put in the C tier, high C tier. He's kind of in the same boat as Ash, but he does fare a little bit better in the meta. Now, I'm going to put Mandy in the A tier because with her supercharge buff, she's been really good, actually. And a good Mandy can make a lot of plays. Now, Maisie, I'm going to put in the C tier. I mean, since her hypercharge got nerfed, she's just completely fallen off. And there's so many better tank counters in this meta. Oh my god, the King Hank. We're going to put him in the S tier because he's just so goated. Like, just insane brawler overall. Now, I'm just playing. He's going to go in the F tier. He's kind of garbage. Now, I'm thinking about putting Pearl in high C tier, maybe low B tier. Her hypercharge is really garbage. And in this meta, she's not very good compared to some of your other options. I think I'll put her C tier. Now, Lawrie, A tier, because it's a thrower-heavy meta, and Lawrie is a good thrower. He has good survivability, his main attack is fundamentally broken. I'll put him just next to Barley. They're both really good. Now, Angelo, I'm going to put him in the A tier right next to Piper. His hypercharge was a bit underwhelming, but he's still a very solid brawler. Good damage, good survivability. You know it's Angelo. Now, Barry is going to go into the S tier. Amazing heals. His main attack lasts 6 seconds, which is absurd. He's just very good. Mortis in this meta has so many counters. I'll put him like low C tier. Borderline F tier, even more so than Ash. But he is getting a hypercharge soon, so we'll pray for him. Tara, in my opinion, she's going to go into the C tier, but she can actually work on some maps like Double Swoosh and Undermine, using her Vision gadget. Now, Gene, in my opinion, is going to go into the A tier. He has really good supporting capabilities. You know, he can heal, he can pull, he can chip down your opponents, help you with Vision. He works on Gem Grab, Knockout, Bounty, etc., you know. But I am thinking I'll put him a little bit lower than Nita, because in this meta, I think Nita's a little bit better. Now, Max is also going to go into the A tier. Very strong hypercharge. You know, again, she has a lot of supporting capabilities. I think, I'm wondering where to put her. I think I'll put her maybe above Nita. And I think, actually, I'll move Jean up. Now, next up is Mr. P. He's going to go into the C tier. In my opinion, like, he just doesn't have that much damage. He can't really deal with over-aggression, which you see a lot in this meta. But I'll move him to, like, mid-C tier. Now, next up, we got Sprout. Sprout is okay. I mean, Sprout is good in Knockout and Bounty, but, like, not really good anywhere else. And the hypercharge is kind of garbage. I think I'll put Sprout, like, low B tier. Sprout's okay, about average. Now, Byron is going to go around Piper and Angelo. Very good healing capabilities. He's got damage, strong super, you know, it's Byron. Now, Squeak on the other hand, Squeak isn't super good right now. I mean, he can't really deal with the over-aggression, but he can be decent sometimes. I think I'll put him high C tier because he can be good sometimes. Now, Lou has slightly Rosen in this meta, but not amazing. He can deal with the over-aggression that comes from tanks. I mean, he is a tank counter, but there are some better options. I'll put him in like the B tier. He can work sometimes, kind of like Squeak. Now, Ruffs in this meta is a bit decent. I'm thinking of either putting him high C or low B. He's not super good. People call him a Rico alternative, but he's more like a support version. And his support isn't super amazing in this meta, but I think I'll throw him in the B tier. His damage is lacking, but again, he's a support brawler, so support capabilities can help. Buzz in this meta, in my opinion, is like around B tier. In this meta, his hypercharge is strong. He does do a lot of damage, but without the hypercharge, sometimes he's kind of garbage. No cap. I'm thinking I'll stick him like next to Bibi. They're kind of in the same boat, to be honest. Now, next up is Fang. Since his hypercharge got nerfed, he's kind of fallen a lot. In my opinion, he's kind of garbage now. I'm gonna put him like low or mid C tier. He's not complete. He can work sometimes, right? He can work sometimes, but he's fallen. Now, Eva's kind of fallen a lot. She's kind of just average. You know, she's just there. I don't know. I'll throw her B. Janet, in my opinion, is kind of underrated. Don't get me, like, she's not amazing, but like I think either high C or low B, she can actually work on maps like Undermine, Double Swoosh, etc., etc. She's not that bad, but like a lot of people are hating on her, to be honest. Now, Otis, in my opinion, he's a bit lacking in this meta. I mean, his super's good to deal with aggression sometimes, but like he doesn't really do too much damage. I don't think. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I'll throw him like high C tier. He's not amazing, but he's decent. Now, I'm going to throw Buster into the A tier. Very solid damage, very solid gadget, very solid super. His super is really good. The only thing that's holding him back is the fact that he can be countered, so you don't want to first pick him. But he is very good. Now, next up with Gray, I'd say he's okay in this meta, but his damage is certainly lacking. I'll throw him like B tier. His TP can still provide some value. His pull can be good into some throwers. Like, he can work into throwers, you know, as a kind of assassin, but his damage is lacking into some of the more aggressive threats in this meta, in my opinion. Now, next up is Artsy. In my opinion, he's not super bad in this meta. He can deal with a lot of the over-aggression, but it is tricky to hit his shot sometimes. I'm debating like A or B tier. I think I'll throw him mid B tier. He's pretty good right now, in my opinion. Now we got Willow. she is good with her super, but her super is so dang hard to hit. And there are also like a lot of better throwers that just do more for the team. But again, it is a thrower meta. I think I'll put her like low B. Now, Doug, my goat, he's gonna go into the F tier, but trust me, guys, he is S tier. It's reverse psychology. Now, Chuck, he's only good in heists. He's not very versatile. I think I'll throw him in the C tier. Like, Chuck's just not very good anywhere else. Now, Charlie, since her attack damage got nerfed, since her supercharge got nerfed, in my opinion, she's fallen quite a lot from where she used to be in the S tier. I think I'll put her like mid, low B tier. She's okay-ish right now, but she's not super good in the meta. Okay, so next up is the monkey. I'd put him in the same boat as Edgar. They're both late pick assassins. He does fill that niche, but he is counterable, kind of just like Edgar. He's in the same boat. Now, Melody, I'm thinking of putting her somewhere in the B tier. She is mainly good in heist, but in my opinion, she's a little bit more versatile than Chuck. You know, she still has that damage. She does still have a little bit of bulk. I mean, I think high B tier works. I'll leave her in the B tier. Now, Lily's one of the brawlers that got an insane rework. She has 2 ammo now, so she has insane damage. Her gadget is still insane. I mean, it's self-explanatory. And I think I'm also going to put the 3 snipers at the top of the A tier up into the S tier. So it's not like super bare bones. They're like really good as well. So I mean, I think it's fine. Oh my god, it's the lobster. I hate this guy. At stage 3, his damage is insane. Probably one of the best brawlers in the game. Very hard to stop unless like you have a thrower or somebody that outranges him. Is he top 3, top 2? I think we'll put him there. Now, Spike, since he got a damage nerf a while back, he's definitely fallen a lot from the meta. I'm going to put him in C tier somewhere. Like, he's just outclassed by other damage and control brawlers, and in this meta, he's just not super good. Now, Crow, in my opinion, in this meta is quite underrated. You know, the anti-heal can deal with some of the healers, like Barry and Byron, and, you know, his hypercharge, he's good in heist. He also can work sometimes in gem grab, in my opinion. Now we got Leon. Honestly, he's kind of fallen off. Again, his hypercharge got nerfed, I think, which is why he's so bad right now. He's only good in quickfire, but outside of that, he's completely garbage. I'll throw him like C tier. Now, Sandy, oh my god, Sandy is so overrated, bro. In this meta with tanks and tank counters, I don't think Sandy fares too well. I don't know why my randoms keep picking him, man. But, like, at the same time, his utility is still great. I'll throw him in the B tier. Now, I'm going to throw Amber into the A tier because she has insane damage. Her gadgets are really good. She's good with damage and zoning. And she's rarely picked or banned. She's just so good. I mean, I don't think it's a surprise to anyone. Meg's going to go into the S tier. She has insane survivability, insane damage. Meg is just so broken. I hope she gets nerfed soon. And I think I'm going to put Clancy top 3 because he's just so good right now in this meta. Yeah. Now, Surge, I'm thinking of putting low A, high B. You know, it's a tank meta. He's a tank counter. You guys know the deal. Now, next up is Chester. Probably my favorite brawler in the game right now. He has just such good damage. He's really versatile. Rarely picked or banned, kind of like Amber. So, I don't know. He's certainly not amazing, but he's quite good right now, actually. I'll throw him high B. I would throw him A out of bias, but like, I don't know. Then you guys are going to complain. Now, Cord, in my opinion, is going to go into the A tier. I think he's always going to have some sort of value as a brawler because he can shut down hypercharges. He can shut down tanks. He can act as an assassin sometimes. And he plays pretty well into some of the top meta threats. Don't get me wrong. There are some meta brawlers that he doesn't play too well into, like Clancy. He feeds him in Shadow Realm somehow. And Meg, he loses to Meg, but he also counters others like Collete. He also counters Barry. He counters a lot of the good meta brawlers. I'm thinking he's going to go A tier. Now, Kit in this meta is just so good. He has insane damage. He can support his teammates really well. I mean, it's Kit. And now, lastly, we got Draco. He's kind of fallen off a cliff with this new meta. He's outclassed by other tanks, you know, the Buster, the Frank, etc., etc. And it's tank counter heavy meta. So he gets completely shut down. Like, I don't know. I'm thinking I'm going to put Draco in the low B tier. He can work sometimes. Don't get me wrong. Every brawler can work sometimes, but he's kind of fallen off a lot. Anyway, guys, that's the video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Drop a like, subscribe, comment if you did. If you didn't, you know, let me know why you didn't like it. Maybe I can try and improve it. Anyway, join the Discord server maybe if you want in the description. And lastly, I have channel memberships now. They're the best way to support me, but don't feel pressure to buy them. Shout out to my Tier 1 members, though. My Tier 2 members. And lastly, my Tier 3 members. They really help make these videos a possibility for me. But yeah, that's all from me. I'm out, guys. See ya.